Hey, so I thought I'd do something a bit different with this video. I don't have a script. I don't have a plan outside of showing you everything that RightMessage is doing with the RightMessage. Because this is something that we've heard time and time again from people, that the theory is fine. Yes, we should be personalizing. Yes, we know we should be doing more, but we're not really sure what more means. We don't know what else we could be doing that we're not doing. And as a company, we're trying to improve upon that. And things like this video is our way of doing that. So what I thought I'd do is I'm going to walk you through the entire RightMessage setup. I'm going to explain out loud why we have things set up the way we do. And with the goal that we have as a company, which I'll preface things with, is we're trying to deliver an end-to-end personalized experience for everyone. So what that means practically is you're on our website, you're getting personalized calls to action, you're getting personalized content shown to you like headlines and testimonials. But when you get emails from us, that conversation continues. So if we're talking to you as ABC on the website, you get an email, ABC is carried over. And likewise, we're also going to be pushing that into third-party systems. So for example, Meta remarketing. So you're on Facebook. We know that your challenge is A and you're in industry B. You might see a remarketing ad that is all about A and B. And that's by design, because we know that if we can make it so our product to you or to anyone is exactly what they need, it's exactly for their business, their challenge, their goals, everything. We know that's the way to win. We know that's the way to make it seem like RightMessage is a no-brainer. So that's what we've built into our system. And I want you to copy what we're doing. I want you to learn from us. This is the fourth iteration of our RightMessage account. So this is actually a new project we just released this week. So the data is very fresh. It's very new. We don't have a ton of data to show off here, but this is the fourth iteration, and we've been building on this stuff for years now. So foundationally, it's pretty sound. It's tested, but when it comes to the RightMessage dashboard here, the data is very fresh. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through everything. And if you have any questions for me as I go, feel free to just pause the video, go to the comments, jot down your question, and I'll keep an eye on the thread and try to help however I can. So I want to start with the data. So RightMessage is being used between our website and our single source of truth, which in our case is Bento, which is our email provider and CRM. So the way we have things set up is that when somebody signs up for RightMessage and then say they become a customer, all that data is mirrored into Bento. So we know in Bento they're a customer, they've spent this much money, they signed up on this date. We have all that information that we're getting through things like our applications database. But then we also are feeding into Bento things like when somebody books a demo with us, we ask questions, which I'll show you in a second. All that data is fed in. When people go through our assessment quiz and tell us about their business type or their goals, all of that is also fed in. So Bento is also being updated by RightMessage itself. Additionally, we have behavioral segmentation happening where we're looking at things like what kind of content is somebody reading most of? What features do we think they're most interested in? And that data is also being synced into Bento through RightMessage. So our goal is put everything in Bento. We want to have everything there so I can pull up any user or any person's email address and see, okay, they're getting these emails from us. They've done this in RightMessage. They've told us this about their challenges and pain points. They've done this kind of stuff on our website to indicate that the email personalization feature is what is most important to them. If we have that profile, we can do a lot with that. We can make it so when they come to our website, they're getting a very bespoke website that speaks directly to them. When they get another email from Bento through, a marketing automation sequence that I've set up, that email sequence is very specific to them also. And then likewise, they're killing time on Facebook. They see an ad from RightMessage. Instead of it being a generic ad, they're seeing one targeting their pain point, their industry, their email platform, all of that combined to show them the perfect ad. And all of that is by design, because we know, and we have a lot of data to show this, and it's pretty common sense, that the more relevant we make RightMessage to somebody, the more likely they are to buy RightMessage. So all of this is true for you. You should be copying this, and I hope you do. So that's kind of the foundational thing is Bento and RightMessage and our website are all kind of in full sync. And now I'm going to show you how we do that. So I'm going to start by going to our flows. So one mistake I see a lot from customers is that you'll go to their flows and they have dozens of these. Generally speaking, you want a very minimal amount of flows. So flows are like the decision engines within RightMessage. Everything from running quizzes or surveys to showing targeted call to actions to tracking page views, all of that is done within a flow. And there's really two types of flows in RightMessage. You have system flows, which are the two at the top here, these SYS ones I've set up. And then you have regular flows, which would be things that ask a question or show a pop-up to somebody or whatever else. The big difference is a system flow runs on every single page, and it runs without the user seeing anything. So a good example of a system flow would be, hey, every time they view a certain type of content, track what they're doing, add a point to the email personalization counter. And so every time they read something about email personalization, we add a point. And then whichever one is highest, whichever point score thing is at the top, we're going to say that's their most interested feature that we have, right? So that's exactly what we're doing in the page tracking, which I'll show you in a second. So these run on every page view. They're not tied to a widget. They just kind of run in the background. And then regular flows, again, are the things that like you see a quiz embedded on the website, or you see a pop-up ad saying, hey, before you go, why don't you book a demo or something? All of that is done through a regular flow. So I'm going to walk you through really quickly the two system flows we have set up. So the first one we have set up is called our buying stage setter. So what this does is this runs on every page. And then what's happening is we're looking, first off, have they viewed the pricing page at least once? If they have they viewed demo at least once? So if both of these are true, they'll go down this yes path, and then they will be in the buying stage sales ready segment. So this means that they are ready to be sold to. They've looked at the demo page. They haven't booked a demo. They've looked at the pricing page. They don't have an account. They're in the sales ready segment. And then if they haven't viewed the demo page, but they have viewed the pricing page, then they're trial ready. So this is somebody who's looked at pricing, but they actually haven't expressed interest in booking a demo. So we're going to try to put them into a trial. And then finally, we have if they are have looked at our comparison pages, so they've looked at competitors of ours, we know they're comparison shopping. And then we do some other things like if they viewed at least 3 pages, they're kind of active, so that we're going to say they're an active researcher. And then that's it. So what this is going to do is every single page, this is going to recompute. So you might come to the website immediately right now. You're not going to be in any buying stage. You're in the default one, and I'll show you how that works in a second and what we're doing with that data. But you won't be in a specific buying stage. But then the second you go to the pricing page, you're now in the trial ready buying stage. But then if you later move to the demo page and don't book a demo, you're now in the sales ready. So you've expressed interest in wanting to be, joining a sales call or something like that. So this flow is all it does is it segments. It puts somebody into a RightMessage segment that we can then use later on to do stuff with. And I'm going to show you what we do how we use this in a moment. But this is a really interesting use case for system flows. So system flows run before all the other flows. And the reason for that is we want system flows to let you set the stage for what somebody is kind of ready to do. So you can put them into a certain segment here, and then later on you have a flow that is going to show targeted pop-ups. This is going to let you then determine all of that and kind of put people into the right flows or not the right flows, but make sure people see the right pop-ups and so on in a really elegant way. And one thing I could do here, which we haven't done yet, is I could say like, okay, if they're sales ready, I'd like to also, let's run some code that would push them into the Meta custom audience that will show, hey, go book a demo or something. So if they've expressed interest in the demo, but they haven't done it yet, and so on, we could just use this as a way to kind of like push people into a custom audience within Meta that would allow us to show really targeted ads. Now, we're not running ads yet at RightMessage, so we don't have this set up, but that is something we will be doing in the future. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at our page tracking flow. So the next thing we've done here is we've gone through and we're looking at what are the major categories of content on our website. So we kind of cheated with this. We have a new MCP with RightMessage, and what that means is that we have a way for LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude to work with RightMessage and to work with our account. So we gave Claude our sitemap, and we said, go look at all the pages we have on our website, and then figure out which ones are quiz or survey related, which ones have to do with website personalization, which one has to do with lead gen, and so on and so forth. And what it did is it set up these conditions that say, okay, if any of these are true, you're on the quiz page, you're on the assessment page, you've done this, you've done that, you've done this, you're on any of these pages for the current page, then they're on a quiz or survey page. And if they are on one, we increment the quiz count variable. So RightMessage has the ability to set variables which are kept in the user's browser. So this works fine if they're anonymous. And what this is doing is we're saying every time they visit any page related to quizzes or surveys, we're going to take the quiz count variable and we're going to default it to 0 and then add 1 to it. So if I went to 5 quiz pages, I would have a count of 5. And we do this for every single category of content that we have. And then at the end of this, what we're doing is we're using our high score option, which is basically saying, hey, look at all the variables we've set up. We've set up a personalization count, enterprise count, email count, quiz count, and lead gen count. Whichever one's highest, go down that path. So here, if it's enterprise is the highest, it'd go down and we'd set the variable focus to be enterprise. And we'd also set their primary use case interest to be the advanced segment. And that will then sync it into Bento automatically. And likewise for email personalization, same thing here. Set it to email personalization, syncs it into Bento. So this is really nice because just behind the scenes, it's automatically looking at what people are doing on our website and pushing this data up to the Bento record for them. So if I ever wanted to say, hey, email everyone who's mostly interested in email personalization based on what they've done on our website, that becomes really trivial for us to do. Now, one thing you might have noticed here is this oddball thing, this check I'm doing here. The reason for this is with a high score node, which is what we have here. And a high score is just saying, we have 5 different variables, whichever one is highest, go down that path. But if all of them are 0, so if they haven't been to any of these pages yet, their score, there wouldn't be a high score. All of them would be 0. So what happens in the event of a tie, where all of these would be tied because every variable would be equal to 0, is we go down the topmost path. And that's by design because we want to make it so you as the person doing this setup can say, hey, personalization count or this path here is our most important. So in the event of a tie, the highest one wins in that case. So what I want to do here, though, is I want to say, well, I actually don't want to just default to website personalization being the main thing if nothing's set. So I'm checking here to say, is personalization count greater than or equal to 1, meaning there's a point at least for it? If yes, then go ahead and set the focus to it. Otherwise, exit, which in this case will just make it so nothing happens and there's no focus, there's no putting into a primary use case. So again, I know this is advanced, but I'm doing this video for people who've wanted advanced content, but this is how we're tracking page views and categories of content that people are reading on the website. And what's really cool is using the MCP, anytime we publish a new piece of content, I can have it automatically go into our account here and update it automatically without me even need to log into RightMessage. So we can set it up to say, hey, we add a new page. fire off this thing with the MCP, and it'll automatically do all the updates for us. Okay, so that's the system flows that kind of set up foundationally everything that we need. The next thing I'm going to show you is the site-wide flow. So we have 3 user flows, one of which is our quiz, which we embed on the homepage. And what that looks like is this. So you go to the homepage, right down here. This is our quiz. So we have the quiz. We also have a demo, which if you were to fill out this form and then go to the next page, you would see the demo survey, basically. So we have basically those 2 different flows, the assessment and the demo flow. But then the big monster one, which I can't wait to show you, is our site-wide flow. So this is going to look at everything we've just set in the system flows. So what's their primary use case? What is their buying intent? All of that. We're going to look at that. We're going to combine it with the Bento data, and we're going to try to show somebody the perfect pop-up on the website. So we have 2 different things, and I'll start with showing you this. So we have a toaster widget, which is this guy down here. So this little thing at the bottom right, this is what's called a toaster. And then we have an exit pop-up, which I can't trigger because I'm segmented as such that it's not showing the exit pop-up, but that's what you'd expect, a pop-up when you go to leave the site. So these 2 widgets run this flow. So one architectural thing to understand about RightMessage is if a widget is eligible to be shown, then and only then will the flow itself run. So think of the flow as only triggering when a widget gets shown. So the demo flow, for example, would only ever get shown when somebody goes to the demo page on the website. Otherwise, it doesn't get run at all, which is why we've created the system flows. So you can have these flows that always get run. But in this case, we have a flow that is meant to dictate who sees what pop-ups on the website. The 2 pop-ups are the exit pop-up and the bottom right site-wide toaster. And then what we're doing here is we're saying, first off, are we on a page that we should not show any pop-ups? So all we need to do here is we can just add a list of pages that are kind of blacklisted. Like these should not ever see a pop-up. And then if any of these are true, so they're on like the assessment page or they're on the quiz page, then we exit. And if you exit a flow before anything gets shown, that widget will not render. So in this case, there won't be an exit pop-up for them, and there won't be a toaster for these people. So that's how we're doing that. Right at the top of the flow, we're saying, if they're on any of these pages we don't want to show anything on, leave. The next thing we're doing is checking, do they exist in Bento? Yes or no? And I'll show you the yes path in a second, but we'll start with the no path, which means they're anonymous, they're not on our email list, they're not in our CRM. So if they're not, we're then going to look at what buying stage are they at. So you'll remember the system flow I set up. We are setting buying stage based on what pages they've done. They've looked at it in the website. I could have put all that here, but I wanted to keep the site-wide funnel that I have here kind of dumb. I don't want it to know why somebody is in a certain buying stage. I just want it to react to if they're in a buying stage or not. So if they're in demo ready, or sales ready, I should say, then I want to show them the, book a demo call to action. I don't want to bake into this massive flow the logic saying, have they viewed the pricing page? Have they viewed the demo page? Have they done this? Have they done that? I'd rather just abstract that away into a nice packaged system flow, and that's what we've done. So if they are sales ready, so they viewed the demo page, they viewed the pricing page. One thing we're doing is I wanted to show a different set of messages in the toaster versus the exit pop-up. Now, we could have created 2 different flows. I could have had a flow that is just for exit pop-ups and one just for the toaster pop-up. But I like having a single flow. So what we're doing is if they're sales ready, so we want to give them a demo. If they're currently running this flow within the exit pop-up, we'll go down the yes path and we'll show a wordier message. So it'll say, let's map out personalization for your business. And here's what it would look like materially. So it look like something like this, right? And one thing we've done is we've made it personalized. So this yellow text will change depending on their primary use case. So if they're mostly reading about quiz funnel stuff and we want to give them a demo, the call to action for that demo will be about, let's map out your quiz funnel strategy. If it's website personalization, let's map out your website personalization, and so on and so forth. So there are 6 variants or ways of showing this exit pop-up for people who should be getting a demo. And if they're not ready for or if they're not looking at the exit pop-up, I should say, if they're looking at the toaster, they're going to see a more concise, shorter thing, which would look like this. So little mini thing that just has a sentence or two, just a sentence actually, I think, or two. So it's more concise, and that's, again, by design. And we cheated doing this. I used the MCP for RightMessage again and had Claude go and generate all of these for me, including the personalizations. So it looked at all the buying primary interest segments that we had, and it wrote all the copy. I went in, I tweaked it. And that's, again, I try to be lazy whenever possible, and that's one way of doing that. And then we just did the same for trial ready, active researcher. So active researcher, we want to get them to do the quiz or the assessment. If they're ready for a trial, we want to get them to start a trial directly. So you can see how the pop-ups are going to change depending on where somebody is in the buying intent stage. But you might recall that not everyone fits into this. Not everyone has been to 3 or more pages, or has looked at a comparison page, or is ready for a trial because they viewed the pricing page. So for those people, they're going to fall back on this pathway here, the default path, which you can see 61 people in the last 24 hours have gone down this path. And for them, we're going to go down here and we're going to say, okay, if they're, we're not going to show an exit pop-up for people who have not done much on the website yet. So this is kind of a cool way to say, we kind of only want to be annoying if you're not on our list and you've done a lot on the website, then and only then do we show the exit pop-up. But if it's your first time here, we don't want to harass you with an exit pop-up. So make it that what you will. But one of the things I like about this compared to other pop-up tools is if you wanted to architect that, what I just described, in a normal pop-up tool, you probably couldn't do that. Like it's not possible. Whereas with our flow builder and how we've set this up, it becomes really easy to set that up. Okay, so this is somebody now who is hasn't done a lot on the website yet. They've not gone to the pricing page. They've not done much. Maybe they've checked out one feature page. They're not actively researching. In that case, we're going to then show them a specific call to action for our quiz, which is our primary lead magnet. So website personalization, your website shows the same thing to everyone. Lead gen, are your opt-in forms leaving money on the table? Email personalization, generic emails are killing your engagement. Advanced people who are like more enterprisey, how mature is your personalization stack? And then we have a fallback if they haven't viewed anything. So they're just going to the homepage, let's say, or just been to like the terms of services page or something. The fallback here would just be a generic call to action. So what we've done here, if you look on everything on the right, is every blue box is a specific personalized pop-up. And bear in mind, everything I'm hovering over now, there are 6 versions of each. So there's already here, I don't know what the math is, but a lot of different ways of showing anonymous people a specific targeted offer that's either for a demo if they're high interest, a trial if they've expressed interest in starting a trial, and then for everyone else, a personalized call to action that leads to our quiz. So that's what we've done for the anonymous side of things. So let's go back up here where we're checking if they're in Bento. So now let's talk about what happens to returning visitors. So you're back on our website, you exist in Bento, you have an account with us, or maybe you don't, but you're on our list in some way. First thing we do is check, do you have a RightMessage account? So have you ever signed up for RightMessage? If they have not, go down this path. Have they viewed the demo page at least once in the last week? So this is our way of using RightMessage to basically retarget people on the website with a demo call to action because they've been to the demo page. So in this case, still thinking about it, hey, you were looking at booking a demo, pick a time that works, 30 minutes, no commitment, and we'll make it specific to your business that links directly to the demo page, and they can just go from there. If they have not viewed the demo in the last week, we check to see, are they a high value lead? So how we're doing this is we're looking at data that we've collected through our assessment quiz. So you go through the quiz, you tell us a bit about your marketing spend, your monthly traffic, and so on. All of that is used to build your personalized assessment. And then what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, if you're pretty high value, like we want to get you on a demo call. If you're pretty early on, we'd rather you go and do a trial or do the quiz if you haven't done that yet. So if they're not high value because they haven't answered questions in the way that I just showed you, we check, have they completed our quiz? If they have not, let's get them to do the quiz. So, 2-minute personalization assessment will give you a custom roadmap, blah, 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 take the assessment. If they have completed it, are they an agency? Because one thing we ask in the quiz is, are you doing this for yourself or for your clients? If they want RightMessage for clients, start a free trial and set up personalization for your first client. Your assessment results become your implementation blueprint. So basically, the assessment we did for them tells them what to do with the RightMessage. And now we're saying, okay, you've done the quiz, you know what to do. We gave you the assessment results. Go and start your trial and set it up for your first client. If they're doing it for themselves, same messaging, but now it's about doing it for yourself. If they are high value, same kind of check. Are they an agency? If so, deliver personalized marketing for every client. See how RightMessage could work across your client accounts. Book a demo to see it in action. And if it's for yourself, again, do it for yourself. And this is also being personalized. So we're changing this depending on what kind of clients they work with. So if they're working with SaaS companies, could personalize your SaaS client websites. If it's e-commerce, could personalize your e-commerce clients' shopping experiences. So again, now we have, this one has a total of, these the same, yeah. So 5 different variants, depending on what kind of clients they work with. And if they're doing it for themselves, same thing, personalized for them, depending on their business type. E-com companies will see a different headline than a service company would, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that covers, I know there's a lot. They are in Bento. They do not have an account with RightMessage. I've just covered all that. So that's that tree over to the right. Now, if they do have an account, again, we're not going to show pop-ups because I don't want to show exit pop-ups to people, especially if they're on our list, because they're kind of annoying. We're going to check, do they have a paid account? So are they an actual customer? If they're not, are they high value? Let's get them. So these would be people who are currently on a trial. So if they're high value, let's get them on a setup call. And if they are not as high value, then point them over to our documentation to the quick start guide. So again, if somebody is going to be spending a few $100s a month with us, yes, get on a call with us. Well, let's help you get your trial successful. And if they're perceived as being not super valuable in terms of monthly spend, we'd rather them do a more self-serve path. And again, we're not doing this because I know a lot of you watching might be on the technically the low value path, but we're trying to be smart and efficient about how we do things. So that's one of the ways we're doing that. And I think especially for organizations with more bandwidth constraints, that what I just showed, where you're kind of looking at the scoring of basically a lead and saying if they're high value, push them to more of a sales-led approach. Otherwise, self-serve makes a lot of sense. Okay, if they are a customer, this is where things get really interesting. So we're using RightMessage here to round robin on every page view. So page 1, we want to get them to show an offer to a customer to upgrade their account. The next page view, let's get them to leave a review. The next page view, let's get them to, what did I do? To become an affiliate. So the 3 things we want customers to do are upgrade, leave a review, and send people to us. So how we do that is we're using a variable within RightMessage. So again, this is tied to the user, tied to their browser, where the default next offer is upgrade. So they come here for the very first time. The first thing we want them to do is to see a message about upgrading their account. So if the next offer is upgrade, which it would be for somebody new, they go down the yes path. And then we see, are they on the cheap plan or the personalized plan? Or the bottom plan or the top plan? If they're on the bottom plan, which is the CTA plan or segment and grow, then we want to show them a call to action for You have the segmentation data. Now use it to personalize your headlines, calls to action, and content for every visitor. Log in and set up your first campaign. So if they go in to the product, which is what we're pointing them to the website personalization area and set up a personalization campaign, they're going to be prompted to upgrade their account so that they can use that campaign. So the idea here is if somebody is collecting data through segmentation surveys or quiz funnels, we want to get them to then upgrade their account so they can use that data to materially change their website. So that's our call to action here. And if they're already on that plan, we then want to get them to upgrade to an annual plan. So save 2 months by switching to annual if they're on the top plan. Now, we don't have a check here yet to verify if they are on the annual plan or not, because we don't want to show this if they're already an annual customer. We just need to get that data into Bento. We haven't done that yet. So that's the next step on us. Okay, so that's the upgrade path. The next page here, so say they go to the homepage, they get the upgrade offer. They then go to the template page, right? Now they get the review, because what we're doing is before we show the offer, we're setting next offer to the next thing in the chain, which is review. So now they're on review, and we want to show them the leave a review on G2. We're trying to really grow our presence on G2, which is something we've really neglected. So if you're watching and you're a customer, we'd love you to leave a review on G2. But here's our way of trying to get people, when they're back on the site, to do that. Leave a review, and we'll credit your account with a free month. Takes a few minutes and helps other marketers find the right tools. But again, right before we show that, we're setting next offer to be affiliate. So on the next page here, now they've gone from the templates listing page to a specific template. On that page, now they're going to get the affiliate offer, which is earn recurring commissions for every referral. And it links to our affiliate program. And then right before it sets it back to upgrade. So then on the next page, they're back here. So it's just an infinite round robin. We've done this by page view. There's other things you could do. You could make this timed. You could say, for 30 minutes, the next 30 minutes, they'll get the review call to action. Then the next 30 minutes, they'll get the upgrade. You can set this up however you want, but this is how we've done it. So that's that. This is our mammoth, monolithic way of showing the right offer to the right person at the right time on the website. And hopefully what we've done here makes a bit of sense. Okay, now I want to show you really quickly some of the ways that we're doing the assessment in the demo. So assessment is our big quiz that we're trying to get people to do when they come to the website. So we're doing a kind of a traditional branching nonlinear quiz where if they're doing this for themselves, they go down the left path, otherwise the right path for the client focus thing. We're asking questions about, their business type and then digging into specific things about e-com or SaaS or whatever else. And then we get into asking about how they currently personalize. So again, this is very new. We've had hardly anyone go through this. So the data answer rates are very low. We ask people what their marketing challenge is, primary challenge. And then we ask a few specific numeric inputs, like how many unique visitors to your website get each month, how many new leads, how many new sales, approximate monthly revenue. And then we're using JavaScript here. So this looks crazy. It is. But we had AI do it all. What we've done here is we've made RightMessage Calculator, where what this will do is, let me show you a preview of this. If I go through here and I just answer this real quick and say, okay, we've got this, we do sales assisted, we do this, we look at that, blah, 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 blah. Let's say we get 20,000 people a month to our website. We get 1,000 of them. And you can see here how the language is about SaaS. I said I'm a SaaS company. So it talks about trial signups, demo requests. We show different copy if you're a e-commerce company or whatever else. So that's another really cool thing that you can do with the RightMessage. And we're getting 200 customers a month, let's say. Approximate monthly revenue, let's say 100K a month. Is that 100? Yeah. Okay, so based on your data, you could add 1.4 million a year with better personalization. Thanks for sharing more about you, your SaaS, and your audience insights needs. To get access to your fully personalized report, enter your work email address below. So that's the opt-in at the end. And you can see how that's personalized, and how it's being personalized is we're basically crunching a lot of numbers here. So all you need to do is use Righty, our AI tool, and say like, I want to do, like, we wanted to calculate the opportunity, which is the total amount of money they could make. And that's basically what it did with this, right? So it wrote the code that needed to do that crunched the numbers, came up with a conversion rate, it came up with all that kind of stuff. So I want to show you really quickly how this looks like once you do it. So let me just make sure I'm logged in the right. Okay, cool. So if I go to, so we link people to assessment when they're done. So what you can see here is, let me just make this a bit bigger. So we've basically built a complete report for somebody where, we basically said, okay, you're in the accelerator phase. You've given us this data about website traffic, how many leads you generate each month, all this kind of stuff. Here's your tier. This is how much this person could make based on 50,000 monthly visitors and 50,000 monthly revenue. Again, I just put in fake data, so this is not that great. And then what we do is we kind of benchmark it against some of the averages we've seen. So we calculate their opt-in rate automatically. So with that calculator that I showed you, the code crunches what their opt-in rate is. It then amplifies it based on data that we have. It says if you got it from 0.4 to 0.5, that alone, with all the down funnel effects that would have, could yield this. Same thing for lead conversion rates, trial to customer. So we're talking to them as a SaaS or a software company. I forgot what it says for e-commerce, but it says something like visit or shopper to customer or something. And then expansion revenue too. Shows some examples of ways you could use this to, for your SaaS, recommended first steps for SaaS companies, start by creating an assessment, blah, 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 blah. Here's what like it would cost you to do if you wanted to use these tools for quiz survey funnels, these tools for pop-ups, these tools for website personalization, and then this tool for data unification. You'd be looking at spending between this per year. Your bill with RightMessage would be this. You'd be on this plan based on your traffic, and then either book a walkthrough or start a trial. So what's cool about this is this entire page is built with RightMessage. It's all personalized with our RightMessage personalization editor. So this is one thing that's like a lot of people have asked, could I do something like what I do with ScoreUp, where people go through a kind of a quiz and then they get a results page that's super personalized to them? Here it is. So it's definitely doable. And what's really cool is we did this again with our MCP, where we just pointed it to our page and said, make it dynamic. Use the RightMessage personalization editor and make this come to life. Here's all the data we're capturing in the assessment quiz. Use it. And that's what it's done here. And the thing that people love about this is that notice it's not on a subdomain. This is not like, quiz.rightmessage.com. Like, this is our website. This is our brand, everything. We're not needing to do a different page builder. We just do our normal website page building experience, and RightMessage adapts it based on the quiz results for us automatically. So so that's how the assessment quiz works for demo flow. Somewhat similar. Here we're using this as kind of a twofold thing, where if they're on the demo page, so we have a demo flow embed, and if they're on the demo flow or the demo booking page, I should say, we show the form, and then we redirect to the intake, which then this needs to get set up. We haven't done this yet, but then we ask, again, who's the demo for? What's your website? So on and so forth. And the cool thing we're doing here is we're taking all of this data and then we're sending it to an LLM and say, crawl their website, look them up on like LinkedIn and stuff, look at what they've shared numerically, and determine, are they a good fit for a demo? If they're a good fit, send them our demo calendar link. If they're not a good fit, then basically gently try to get them to just to do a trial on their own, and basically say, like, we think it'd be best for you to start a trial. And again, I say this because I'm the one doing all the demos on our end, and some days I'll have like 6, 7, 8 demos, and I'm not a full-time salesperson. So why this is being set up at RightMessage is we're trying to basically make it so when a demo is done, it's with somebody who is very serious about the product. And that's how we're doing it. We're using AI to do research and to look at what we collected about them and determine whether they're a good fit for a demo or not. Okay, so that's all the flow stuff. Now I want to show you how we're personalizing the website. So I talked about how we're doing the assessment personalization already. I want to show you the marketing site real quick. So one thing that we've done on this is we have made it so depending on what your primary use case is. So if you're looking at content about quiz funnels. So let's say you Google something about how do I do quiz funnel stuff, or you're using AI and it links you to one of our feature pages about quiz funnels. You come back to the homepage, and instead of seeing the default, which is the default homepage is this. Every lead is different. Your marketing should be 2, blah, 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 blah. If you are doing quiz funnel stuff, get more conversions with the quiz and survey funnels. Your quiz funnel already does the hard blah, 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 blah. So again, it's very specific now to quiz funnels. Likewise, if they're looking at website personalization, personalize every page on your website, no developer required. Lead gen, same thing, get more leads. So we're changing the messaging on the homepage just by the primary use case, which if you remember, we're doing that in a system flow that is analyzing their most read content. So the system flow is putting them in a segment, and then that segment is being used and read by our personalization editor here to change the hero. We also have mixed into this though, where they are in their life cycle with us. So if they're a paid account, hey, could you help us out? Our team's working hard. Will you help us get the word out by leaving an honest review? In exchange, we'll credit you with a free limit. So here, we've made the usual get a demo CTA, which makes no sense for a returning customer. And we've changed it to be a leave a review. Likewise, we've changed the start your trial call to action to be log into your account. We haven't changed the nav yet. That's next step for us, but we're going to be doing that soon too. And then if they are a trial customer, what are you personalizing today? Welcome back to RightMessage. And this actually will show their name. So it'll put we're using liquid code here to output their name from Bento. So it'd say, welcome back to RightMessage, Brennan. If there's anything we can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. Otherwise, happy personalizing. Big button now, instead of a demo, log into your account, because that's what people want to do. And then otherwise, go to our help center for guides and tutorials. So again, this makes sense. Like you're going through a trial, you come back to the homepage to go log in. Why are you seeing a demo call to action? Like show them the login button, get them to your help center, get them to some resource or a webinar or a video or whatever. And that's what we're doing here. We've only just scratched the surface. We're only doing it now for the homepage heading. But this week and next, we're going to be kind of rolling this out system-wide. So that's all I've got to show you. The only other thing is we're doing automatic lead attribution. So one thing RightMessage can do is, depending on where they come from with UTM parameters, we can automatically sync that up to them when they convert. So the cool thing about this is if they come to your homepage with a UTM campaign parameter, and then let's say they click around and then they finally opt in somewhere. With most form tools, you wouldn't have that attribution, because if the attribution is not in the URL when they opt in, it doesn't get set. With us, we remember that, they first came to the website with UTM campaign equals ABC. So if and when they opt in later on, even if it's like a day or two later or a week later, assuming they haven't cleared their cache, that data is then synced up to their record. So you have that long-term attribution in place. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you. Again, we've got a lot of good stuff going on with this, but I'm really excited for the next few weeks to roll out and we get more data coming through here. Again, this is building on many years of experience, having built this out for ourselves, along with helping customers get this kind of stuff set up. But if you have any questions or any feedback for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will do my best to reply to everyone who comments. But if you want to see more material like this, if you want to do more deep dives, if you want to see other behind the scenes with other companies, whether they be direct-to-consumer e-commerce companies, software companies, big 7-figure creators, service companies, whoever it is you want to see, drop a comment. Let me know who you'd like to see featured, and we will make it happen. All right, thanks again.